If you ask any Braves fan in 2026 what's one of their biggest points of frustration, it's the struggles of Austin Riley. So far in 2026, Riley is way off the pace he set for himself in his career. A replacement level player on both sides of the ball isn't getting the job done on a team that needs him to be the 30 homer, 100 RBI bat that he can be. So is he really the top 10 MVP candidate he showed he could be from 2021 to 2023? Or is this 2026 version of Austin Riley the new normal? Simply put, Riley is going to figure this out because he's done it before and he will do it again. You don't just forget how to play baseball. And maybe the All-Star break gives him the opportunity to reset from not only a physical perspective, but on the mental side. Because let's be honest, Riley's struggles aren't just mechanical, they're also apparent in his approach at the plate. If you want to believe he's finished and has no shot at turning things around, be my guest, but I am refusing to give up on Austin Riley. First, we have to put his career into context. At one time a top 40 prospect in baseball, Riley made his debut with the Braves in May of 2019, and in just his second career plate appearance in the bigs, Riley hit his first major league homer. After that, he seemingly couldn't stop hitting homers, launching 8 in his first 16 games in the senior circuit. Riley earned NL Rookie of the Month honors in his first month in the show, and while he missed chunks of time through injury in 2019, his final slash line of a .226 average, .279 on base with a .471 slug in 297 plate appearances showed signs of something. There had been a black hole at third base for the Braves since Chipper Jones retired following the 2012 season, and maybe Riley was the answer. Maybe. 2020, as we all know, was the one season you sort of throw out the window, and it was no different for Riley. His stat line was a mere .239 average with a .301 on base and .415 slug in 206 plate appearances with 8 home runs and 27 RBIs. Hardly something to write home about. And while he did hit just .178 in 12 games in the postseason, his lone home run was this clutch go-ahead bomb off Dodger reliever Blake Trinan in Game 1 of the NLCS, a game the Braves would eventually win. A few glimpses in his first 2 seasons, but nothing more than that. 2021 was the first year, though, that we finally saw Riley put together a complete season with the numbers to match the prospect pedigree. After a slow start to the season, 8 for 44 with 0 extra base hits, Riley put it all together and didn't look back. While many of the Braves were slow out of the gates and the team didn't get above 500 until August, Riley was one of the few constants. He rebounded from that slow start and hit .311 with a 1005 OPS and 161 WRC plus in the month of May. Despite a slow June, Riley posted a first half slash line that gave Braves fans a glimpse of what might follow later in the year. A .276 average with an 826 OPS and 119 WRC plus. But the second half, July specifically, is where Riley really started to get it going. In 27 games in July, Riley hit .305 with a 1082 OPS and a 178 WRC plus, along with 9 home runs and 25 RBIs. He finished the year with a .303 average, an 898 OPS, 33 homers, 107 RBIs, and a 136 WRC plus, good for 5.1 wins above replacement per Fangraphs. Riley finished 7th in NL MVP voting as the Braves went on to win the NL East and, of course, the World Series. Riley's walk-off hit in Game 1 against the Dodgers and clutch hitting in Game 2 helped the Braves win just their second championship since moving to Atlanta in 1966, and without Riley's season-long consistency, the Braves may not have been able to complete one of the most improbable runs in recent memory. Riley's 2021 breakout season didn't come out of nowhere, though. There were obviously glimpses early in his career, but in working with his minor league hitting coach Mike Brumley, Riley was able to simplify the mental side of the game. In short, he became much more adept at navigating the struggles that come with playing 162 games. There are going to be ebbs and flows, like the ones he's currently experiencing, but how you get through them defines whether or not you'll have success. And to Riley's credit, he showed just what he's made of in 2021 when he was, in my opinion, the most valuable player for the Braves throughout the course of the full 162-game season. 2021 was always going to be a tough act to follow, but somehow Riley rose to the occasion in 2022. The overall stats looked decent in 2022, but there were a couple areas where Riley really succeeded. Primarily, it was against lefties. Though he hit .255 with 27 homers and an .811 OPS in 521 plate appearances against righties, Riley demolished southpaws to the tune of a .329 average with 11 homers and a .1084 OPS in 172 plate appearances. Smaller sample size, sure, but we're talking about an OPS more than 200 points higher and a WRC Plus ranking 4th among all batters in baseball with at least 100 appearances against lefties. But it wasn't just Riley crushing lefties that helped him produce his best season by fWAR. In 26 games in the month of July 2022, Austin Riley was the best player in baseball not named Shohei Ohtani, and yes, that list includes Aaron Judge. In those 26 games in July, Austin Riley hit .423 with a 1344 OPS, 11 homers, 25 RBIs, a .271 WRC Plus, and 2.7 fWAR. Among all qualified batters, only Alec Bohm of the Phillies hit for a higher average, and only Juan Soto and DJ LeMahieu reached base at a higher clip. But it's pretty clear that Austin Riley was the best player in baseball in July of 2022, and yes, I know it's 26 games of 162, but either way, Riley was the closest thing the Braves had to Chipper Jones at third base. Fresh off his monster month of July in 2022, Riley signed a 10-year, $212 million extension, the largest overall contract in Braves history. The Braves believed they had their long-term answer at third base and wanted to make sure Riley, like his teammate Matt Olson the offseason prior, would be in a Braves uniform for the foreseeable future. We know about how 2023 went for the Braves, so I'll spare you the full deep dive, but it was just another solid season from Riley. A .281 batting average with 37 homers and an .861 OPS, good for 5.1 fWAR just like 2021. His .128 WRC Plus was just outside the top 20 qualified batters in baseball, comping close to the likes of Marcus Semien and Julio Rodriguez for that 2023 season. And in the context of the Braves, Riley was probably the third best player on his own team behind the guys who finished first and fourth in NL MVP voting in Ronald Acuna Jr. and Matt Olson. Riley has, for the greater part of his career, been one of the more valuable players in baseball. In those years from 2021 to 2023, Riley was the 9th best player in baseball among all qualified batters by fWAR with 16.0. The full list includes the guys you would expect: Judge, Freeman, Turner, Betts, Jose Ramirez, etc. But it's Austin Riley who quietly posted 3 incredibly productive seasons in the same neighborhood as those established superstars. But the years since then have been nothing but a disappointment for multiple reasons. And unfortunately, the rather vocal parts of social media will have you believe Austin Riley has forgotten how to play baseball. In the 2 seasons since then, Riley hasn't had the opportunity to rebound from slow starts. In 2024, Riley's first half line looked like this: a .257 average, a .779 OPS, and 116 WRC Plus with 12 home runs in 347 plate appearances. But just as things were trending in the right direction, Riley was hit in the wrist on this pitch from Jack Kohanowitz and would miss the remainder of the season. 2025 was more of the same tortured injury luck for Riley. After posting a .274 average and .764 OPS in 408 plate appearances in the first half, Riley played just 9 games in the second half of the season and underwent season-ending abdominal surgery. For the second straight year, Riley didn't have the opportunity to right the ship and go on one of his second half tears that have been the hallmarks of his career. He averaged just under 160 games played from 2021 to 2023, but played in little more than 100 in the last 2 seasons each, before injury cut his time short. People point to a ton of different things when they try to assess Riley's production, but nothing gets highlighted more than the contract. Atlanta isn't a New York or Los Angeles type media market, but there's a burden that comes with the label of highest paid Brave in history. It's not like Riley's contract is prohibitively expensive though. By average annual value, Riley is, in 2026, the 71st highest paid player in baseball. Say what you will about the length of that deal, but absolutely nothing about what Riley has done in his career to this point should lead you to believe that he's completely finished and will at the end of the day make that contract look really bad. There's an injury component to it. Suffering a wrist injury as a result of a hit by pitch could happen to anyone. Core injuries are wonky and can happen to anyone as well. There's no systemic reason to think Riley isn't the player we've all seen in the past. If you're looking for just one reason to believe he can figure it out, I've given you plenty. But let's start with his career splits. Simply put, Riley is a monster in the month of July, and the second half on the whole. In his career, Riley is a .261 hitter in the first 3 months of the season. But in the second half, the OPS is 60 points higher than the first, and the WRC Plus jumps from 114 to 127. Digging a bit deeper though, the month of July is usually what propels Riley to a stronger second half. The average is second highest of any singular month at 284, but the 927 OPS and 145 WRC Plus are by far the highest marks of any single month in his career. He also slugs a tick below 600 for his career in July, and it's not just because he had the monster month of July of 2022 where the 885 slug throws everything off. In 2021, it was a 674 slugging percentage and 1082 OPS. In 2023, it was a 638 slug with a 962 OPS. Even in what was a down year by all accounts in 2024, Riley still posted a slugging percentage of 527 with an 850 OPS, and it's unfair to say that Riley was the only player in 2024 who struggled because several Braves were way off career norms in 2024. By WRC Plus, it's the same story. 178 in 2021, 152 in 2023, 130 in 2024, and even 101 in 2025 while dealing with core issues that eventually ended his season. So what's the cure then? How do the Braves get the most out of their prized third baseman? I'm no hitting guru, and I never played at a high level, but from watching the Braves on a nightly basis, there seem to be a few things happening. Riley has been forthcoming about his struggles, and hitting coach Tim Hires has echoed a lot of the same sentiments. In a nutshell, it's a bad mixture of ideas that's clouding Riley's judgment at the plate. When he's going well, he's doing damage to the pull side on balls middle and in, and staying on the fastball to the big part of the field. But these days, it feels like Riley is trying too hard to stay inside the ball and ends up missing or getting under everything. And his numbers off fastball specifically are the most worrisome, with the highest whiff rate on heaters he's had since his rookie season in 2019. The solution to Riley's problems, and there isn't just one, isn't as easy as just swing at strikes. And no, the thousands of angry, "Why are we paying this guy so much money to suck?" comments come from folks who don't or haven't played in the big leagues. It's a multifaceted issue that is frankly going to take time and patience. What makes this set of struggles particularly tough for Riley is the noted absence of his longtime hitting coach and close friend, Mike Brumley. Riley credits Brumley with helping him simplify the mental side of the game and prevent the slumps from being as prolonged as this one. Brumley's untimely passing in a car accident in 2024 is one you can bet Riley feels more strongly than usual this go around. Brumley and his dad were the two figures Riley credited most for the success early in his career, and without Brumley, the struggles might just feel insurmountable. But if I'm a betting man, I'm still believing in the Austin Riley we saw from 2021 to 2023. I'm not going to tell you how to assess Austin Riley's career because you know what they say about opinions, but the book is nowhere near written on Riley, and any suggestion that the Braves should explore a trade, don't consider the big picture. He's the highest paid player on the team, sure, but barely in the top 70 of all players in the league. Riley, when healthy and producing even just below career norms, is one of the top third basemen in the league, full stop. He's one of the biggest pieces of a Braves team that has ambitions and expectations in line with where they've been in the past. But for them to get there, Austin Riley doesn't have to be the second coming of Chipper Jones. He just has to be the best version of Austin Riley that we all know he can be.